Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remain standing for the invocation and the Philippine national anthem.
Lord God, you have called your servants to ventures of which we cannot see the ending, by paths as yet untrodden, through perils unknown. Give us faith to go out with good courage, not knowing where we go, but only that your hand is leading us and your love supporting us. Direct us in the path of your commands, for there we find delight. Turn our hearts toward your statutes and not toward selfish gain. Turn our eyes away from worthless things. Preserve our life according to your word. Through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Please remain standing for the Philippine national anthem. You may all be seated.
In a world driven by change, we seize the future by shaping thought leaders of the next generation. The First Pacific Leadership Academy. We are the country's premier corporate university. In this oasis of learning, we combine 10 hectares of lush landscapes with state-of-the-art facilities to cultivate the culture, craft, and art of leadership that has helped over 1,500 clients and organizations from all over the world. With the right mix of executive programs, leadership and management, human resource, and organizational development programs, and recreational activities, we create a dynamic training ground for future global leaders. Our legacy of continuous development, innovation, and entrepreneurship lives in the name of nation building. A brand of leadership that commits to helping the country as we create opportunities to change the world. The First Pacific Leadership Academy. Leading the nation, building the way.
Gentlemen, please welcome First Pacific Leadership Academy General Manager and Executive Director, Mr. Roy Agustin K. Evalle.
Thank you. Our very distinguished guests of honors, presidents of our various companies at the First Pacific Group, our beneficiary schools, Eulogio Rodriguez Institute for Science and Technology, Pamantasan ng Lungsod ng Maynila, University of Rizal System, Philippine High School for the Arts, Rizal National Science High School of Angono, Paref Rose Hill, St. Scholastica's College, Technical University of the Philippines, and Santa Isabel College. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Education, innovation, and leadership. Putting these elements together, the First Pacific Leadership Academy aspires that in this occasion entitled Crafting Chapters and Lessons in Thought Leadership, we expand the reach of our mission as we aim to be a center of excellence and a training ground for the leaders of today and tomorrow. It is our promise to bring you, more of you, opportunities of continuous learning as well as development. We could not think of any other way to express our support and our admiration to our Chairman Manuel V. Pangilinan, but to commit to our mission and stage the makings of a thought leader. In celebration of his many years of thought leadership, we at the First Pacific Leadership Academy invited similarly inspiring and seasoned thought leaders in business, science, and medicine, music, and the arts to showcase their brilliance in their respective field. We are proud to bring you our esteemed national treasures in music, Miss Cecile Licad and Miss Rachel Herodias, adding to our interesting mix of very young special guests, Dr. Daniel Luchanco, Ryan C., Dr. Reynabel Reyes, Pocholo Gonzales, Maestro Olivier Ochanin, and 4 very young Italians and a Spaniard. We believe that through their work and their lives, we advocate the holistic formation of a leader. In this light, we would like each and every one of you to witness how the diversity of experiences, talents, skills, as well as personal giftedness moves toward a united end to leave us with footsteps to follow, especially our very young audiences at the lodge and balcony areas. To those of you who are joining us for the first time, especially to our beneficiaries, it is my pleasure to introduce to you the First Pacific Leadership Academy through this endeavor. We would like you to make the most out of this opportunity and this chance and participate in the exchange of ideas, may that be during the panel forum or in simple socialization during the intermission and after the performances. For our very dear executives in the First Pacific Group, we welcome you once again to our executive talks. This time we offer you more than a discussion, but a celebration. Together, let us celebrate and craft chapters and lessons in thought leadership. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you very much, Mr. Roy Agustin Cayavalli. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your hosts for this afternoon, Mr. Vince and Patricia Hezon.
Hello, hello. Good afternoon, everybody. How are you guys doing today?
Hello, everyone. So excited to be here. It's really wonderful for all of us to come together to celebrate cutting-edge thinking by crafting chapters and lessons in thought leadership.
Yes, as we all well know, effective leadership requires constant personal growth and exposure to new information and knowledge.
The First Pacific Leadership Academy has made it its mission to mold leaders in various fields of endeavor by putting together learning opportunities such as this one today.
It also just happens to be the birthday of FPLA's chairman, and this event, in a way, is his blowout to our youth audience.
Well, today we will get to introduce to you some personalities who have excelled in different fields, and I'm talking about various fields here like emergency medicine, astrophysics. We also have, I think, voice coaching and even visual communications technology.
not to mention performing artists. You guys are in for a treat. We'll try to find out what each of them do to stay on top of their fields and also what they all have in common with each other.
And of course, we'll be presenting a performance later with some of the most insanely talented performers in the world. So I'm sure you all will be sticking around for the performance or concert segment later.
Absolutely. So without any further ado, let my wife and I introduce you to our very first guest.
Our first guest is a Philippine-born singer-songwriter from Los Angeles who originally started performing at local cafes in Edinburgh, Scotland, before moving to Atlanta for college. From Atlanta, he then decided to migrate to Los Angeles to pursue a career as a performer and songwriter.
His music is inspired by his life experiences, stories consisting of relationships, battling his own addictions, and the lessons he's learned along the way. His style is an appealing blend of folk, pop, soul, and country that overflows with emotional honesty and truth.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ryan C. Hi, Ryan. Welcome.
Good to be here.
Good to have you. All right, we're going to be introducing, apart from Ryan, so many other personalities, but we'll hear more from him in just a short while. Now, ladies and gentlemen, for our next personality, Rochelle Herodias is an artist in a stark contrast to Ryan here. She is a classical singer who sings oratorios, musicals, of course, art songs, and kundimans. She also has collaborated with some of today's most celebrated artists like Peter Schmidl of the Vienna Philharmonic Orchestra and respected conductors like George Tintner, Piero Gamba, Oscar Yatko, Ryan Cayabyab, and many others. She has also assumed leading roles in more than 20 different productions in the US, Japan, and Asia Pacific.
Among Herodias' international performances that received high acclaim is her European debut at the Volksoper Wien in Vienna, Austria. Her performance with the Sarajevo Philharmonic Orchestra 2009 New Year concert, and the Pacific Music Festival in Japan. In October of 2010, she joined an international cast of Il Barbaribe de Sevilla. She performed the lead role in a production of the Barbaribe de Sevilla at the Daegu International Opera Festival 2010 in South Korea.
Herodias is currently a voice faculty for University of Santo Tomas Conservatory of Music, and she can be heard on several CD recordings made with renowned Filipino and international artists.
Among her many awards are the 2012 the Total Tomasian Award, a prestigious winner of the 2010 TOYM, or 10 Outstanding Young Men Awards, ALU Awards Hall of Fame Best Female Classical Artist, Towns, or 10 Outstanding Women in the nation's service. These recognitions are a proof of her love for the opera and her dedication to her craft.
Ladies and gentlemen, Rochelle Herodias.
Welcome, Rochelle. And
Thank
that's
you.
quite a list of accomplishments that you have there.
That's already edited. That's the edited version, ladies and gentlemen, already. But good to have you, Rochelle.
Thank you.
Looking wonderful as
Thank you.
ever.
I'm so glad to be here. Good afternoon, everybody.
We'll be hearing more from Rochelle in just a short while. Vince?
Okay, as you all know, today is really about saluting outstanding individuals in different fields of endeavors. In other words, there is very much a lot of truth to the old adage, excellence knows no boundaries,
And I
no
guess,
territories.
That's right. And our next guest also proves that, ladies and gentlemen. He also uses his voice, by the way, as a tool of his trade, but in a very different way, right, Vince?
Absolutely. He's known as the voice master. He is recognized in his circle as the most sought-after voice artist, motivational speaker, and events engineer. His work has been heard on radio and TV commercials, audio dramas, children's programs, computer games, dubbed foreign telenovelas, films and anime, and original animation, among others. At present, he conducts voice acting workshops and runs a sole proprietorship, full-service voiceover production company, Creative Voices Productions. He also works as a voice director for Hero TV and is executive producer of Voice of the Youth TV, the only TV program dedicated to Filipino voice talents. Ladies and gentlemen, please help us welcome Mr. Pocholo Gonzales.
Hello, Pocholo.
Hi.
I have a feeling you're putting a mark on how we're delivering our script here.
How's our
Thank you
voices?
very much.
Thank you. We're going to be learning a lot from Pocholo here, but the next person that we're going to be calling is in a different form of arts. Of course, most of the personalities that you have on stage already are all in the music industry. This is a very different art form, the medical arts.
Yes, although it's called the medical arts, it really is a scientific practice that requires all your wits and a whole lot of heart. Dr. Daniel Luchanco completed his BS in psychology at the Ateneo before going on to medical school at UERM Memorial Medical Center. During medical training, he found that he had an affinity for activity in the emergency room. And after passing his medical boards in 2005, took his residency training in emergency medicine at the Makati Med Center, where he was absorbed and became part of the faculty of the emergency medicine training program after specialization.
He trained and became an instructor for the American Heart Association, teaching courses in basic, advanced, and pediatric life support, building on these two passions of emergency medicine and training. He then founded Early Intervention Management Incorporated in 2011. You know, this company actually offers management of medical staff and support for a wide range of medical-related services. It also specializes in training both healthcare professionals and laypersons, teaching anything from CPR and ambulance rescue to management of common emergencies at home. In 2012, to further his expertise in emergency medicine, he went on a rotation at the Mayo Clinic in Phoenix, Arizona, and took a training course in Trauma Level 1 at the Trauma Center at the University of Arizona. Now, in 2013, he took the helm of Singapore Diagnostics, a diagnostic laboratory established in the country by the Asia Med Lab, which is a group that runs large laboratories in Singapore and Malaysia. Currently, he is on the board of directors of the Philippine College of Emergency Medicine, and he plans to continue to do his part in advancing the fields of emergency medicine, pre-hospital healthcare response, and diagnostic testing in our country.
In other words, here is a man who must live a highly stressful, constantly exciting, but very fulfilling life, saving others' lives. Please welcome Dr. Daniel Luchanco.
I feel very safe with you around, Dr. Daniel.
Hi, Trisha. It's an honor to be here with this group of accomplished individuals.
How does it feel, though? You're in the medical arts and everyone else, they're world-class performers. We have a voice coach over here. Of course, we do want everyone to actually, what we would like for you to gain from this is really based on their experiences and based on their leadership experiences and the qualities that they carry. We'd like for all of you, particularly the students who are here today, to also draw from that, see from their experience, and also grow and learn and pick up from what they too have discovered in the years and years that they've been doing their wonderful craft, be it in the medical arts or in the performing arts. All right, Vince, shall we start with our short Q&A?
Yes, let's do that. I think let's start with Ryan, if you don't mind. Ryan, why don't you tell us a little bit about your field of practice and why exactly you chose what you did?
Okay, so I guess it looks like I perform a lot, but I've only really been performing for only the past 2 years. I actually started doing the whole music thing as a songwriter, and that's actually how I started off making music professionally. I've always had an affinity for writing songs, and I usually use it as like an outlet for, I guess, my own feelings or whatever it was that I was going through in like life or whatever. But the important thing about that is that I pretty much got really obsessed with just like finishing songs and tweaking them and retweaking them, and I just got like really into making songs all the time. So I'd be like writing 3-4 songs a week, something like that. And out of all those songs, some of them actually turned out pretty good, and self-promotion here and there. I was able to make some good connections, and I ended up writing for a different TV series in LA and for different artists as well. And I guess for me, at that age, I was about 22, 23, it was a huge success to be able to make any sort of money in another country, doing something that you love doing, pretty much.
Thank you for sharing that. I just wanted to say, and I know a lot of you know that the MVP group of companies has an advocacy for music, which is the Philippine Popular Music Festival. And for sure, Ryan, we're going to be calling on your expertise also and your, of course, to help further Philippine music. But now that you're in the Philippines, you spoke about your experience writing songs, whether it's for television or for yourself, back in Los Angeles. How important is it to continue, even if you have rooted yourself here in the Philippines already? Do you still find that, I guess, motivation, and also do you still find yourself writing a lot of songs with the surroundings here and getting more inspiration?
To be honest with you, it's been a lot harder to write here. Kasi when I first moved back, I was really excited to write. Pero for me, there's a language barrier pa eh. Kasi like, hindi ako ganong kabisadong magsalita ng Tagalog. So,
That's not bad.
hence, I can't write in Tagalog. But wherever I can, I try to write because like that's always been sort of my forte. But over here naman, I'm focusing more on like, getting my voice up to par with my songwriting.
Oh, okay, great.
But I guess when it comes to instrumentals, I still write for some shows and some other people as well.
Good to hear, Vince.
All right, let's move on to Rochelle Herodias. She's a world-class soprano. How did you choose your chosen field? And tell us how you got there.
Okay, first of all, you said explain something about my chosen field. It's the performing arts, specifically classical singing. So in classical singing, we're trained to sing in the style of opera, but not limited to it. So we also sing art songs from different parts of the world. And so for me, I also sing kundiman, and that's our form of art song. And well, it actually started as, for me, a desire to serve in our church through music. It was my parents who wanted me to dedicate my life to serving in the church. But then, so I enrolled in music school at the University of Santo Tomas to become a professional singer. At that time, I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. But then I got exposed to classical music and opera, and I loved it. And from there, I just wanted to pursue the opera.
So from what your parents just encouraged you to do in church, the whole world now gets to hear your gift because of that small encouragement that your parents had.
Yes.
One thing that I have to share with the audience, I had the privilege of hearing Lupang Hinirang, our national anthem, sung by Rochelle here, as I moved closer to her, while all of you had the privilege of hearing it here at the beautiful Meralco Theater. But definitely, it's such a gift. Is it important for parents to encourage and recognize their children's gift early on?
Yes, of course. It's just that my parents are very... Well, they're very dedicated to serving the church, so they really wanted me to serve in the church. At first, that was my challenge, because they wanted me really to take up theology.
That's a little different than what you chose.
What was that reaction? And, but then it was in high school. It was kind of late when I realized I really wanted to be a singer. That was when I discovered God has given me a special talent in singing, and so I thought, okay, I really want to take up music, and the challenge was to convince my parents. So I prayed. I'm very prayerful, and asked God, if this is really for me, then I won't have any problems with my parents. And then just one day, well, they already know that I want music, but I wasn't really asking them if I can take up music. But then they just told me, we've been talking about this and praying, and we realized, when you go to heaven, everybody's going to be singing, so that's even better. because you're gonna be singing here in church, and up to heaven you'll be singing and using this talent. So that was my cue. Okay, music it is.
Great. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad that you listened to some higher power.
Higher than your parents.
Exactly. Let's go to our next panelist here, Pocholo.
Yeah, Pocholo, how did you get your start? And at what age did you realize you wanted to be the voice master?
First of all, I would like to say good afternoon, everyone. Magandang hapon po. I'm Pocholo Gonzales. I still remember when I was 5 years old. I grew up in Mariveles, Bataan. I don't know if any one of you is from Bataan, but we don't have a television then. It was in 1985. I still remember that. And there was the only means of entertainment that we have is the radio. So every evening before we go to sleep, I'm hearing this radio drama called Gabi ng Lagim. And also this...
They laugh kasi natatandaan din nila yon.
And also this radio drama called 24 Horas. So when I was young, I'm imitating it already because I have nothing to do. There's no internet then, remember? So I find the voices very nice. So what I did is I'm imitating for myself. So I hear this voice like, Isang gabi ng lagim. And then there's a kid.
Lolo, gabi na po, pasensya na, kinabi tayo.
Hey, naku, apo, mag-iingat ka, may monster dito. And then, bigla,
Nako, Lolo, may monster!
anong ginagawa niyo dito? And then my mom was like, what the heck is happening to this boy? And unknowingly, that was like, I'm 7 years old then, but until I get to the school and I imitate my teacher sounds, class, bilisan nyo, matagal na mag-start ng klase. He sounds like that. And I imitated him one time, and I said, class, I'm here, andito na ako. And all my classmates were running like, they thought that's our teacher. And until no one can touch the microphone except me, from high school to college.
I'm sure Rochelle would have prayed for you back then since you were talking in tongues. Who knows what other languages are coming out?
But that's really amazing. I mean, we always knew that there were a lot of talented people, but I think here in Meralco Theater, not a lot like you have come and performed here. But apart from finding early on what your gift was, I'm sure at the early onset, in your childhood, for you it was just all play. When did you start taking it seriously?
Well, basically, when I was in high school, my dad wants me to be a lawyer. And I said, yes, I will be a lawyer. And I took up an exam in the University of the Philippines, Diliman, and I got in. So I took up creative writing. So English creative writing, I find it so boring because I don't speak at all. Because I'm number one in the class when I was in high school, number one in the noisy list. Yeah. I always get like 100 list. So I transferred to speech communication when I was in second year. And I find myself having fun. And actually, when I was in first year, I've heard this radio ad in DZMM saying, kayo ba'y may talento sa pag-iba ng boses, sa pag-voice acting? Sumali. So I joined this voice acting competition, and I bested more than 10,000 other people, because I created like 50 different voices during that time. And then, luckily, at very young age of 16, I was given my very own radio show on that station. And it's like, why should I wait to graduate if I can do it now? But of course, I pursue my education, and I also took up my master's degree in broadcasting.
Wow, thank you for sharing.
Right.
You know, just a thought to share with our students that are here. Of course, we have a lot of high school and college students that have joined us on the lounge and also the balcony. That's a really important point that he said. Although he really had this talent that was very unique that he knew he could make money from, he still pursued his studies, which is really important. This is one of the points that we wanted to share in our crafting thought leadership here for this FPLA Executive Talk. Let's now go to Dr. Dan.
Dr. Dan,
Hi.
our ER specialist. How did you get into wanting to be a ER specialist, and where did you get your start exactly?
Wow, how do you follow that though? I
You
don't
can
have
do it in
any
different
voice.
voices.
I only have this one voice.
Were you
No, I
doing
mean,
surgery at age
yeah.
5? Or?
Scalpel, in different
Actually,
voices.
I think with, well, I guess related to what Rochelle was saying, I think it's really about following your passion. I guess they say if you find something that you love to do, then you won't work a day in your life, right? And so I guess for me it's been that way, coming up through school and all that. I wasn't one of those people that knew from a young age that you have a burning desire to be a doctor or an astronaut or a fireman or something like that. It was just I just kept on doing whatever I felt was right, whatever felt right. And as I was going through school, I realized that I liked sciences. I liked I guess helping people, and so I even up to college, I took psychology instead of biology, just because psychology can still do other things, right? So it wasn't really defined just yet, but I just kept on doing what I felt like, and at the end of college, now what do? Do I go to med school? Okay, I'll go to med school, check it out. And if after a couple of years I find out that it's not for me, then at least I tried. It's the only way I would have known, right? And then through that, even through med school, I felt most alive and most passionate when I was in the emergency room. So that was the kind of work that I liked doing. So some people liked, interviewing, taking good history. I liked, moving very fast, and I liked the idea of being able to help in those, in those few minutes. So I guess that's just how I was directed in that way.
Sorry, can I ask? I mean, I watch some TV. Does it really happen like in Grey's Anatomy? Is it really like
Which
that?
part are we talking about?
Oh, okay. The part where they try to help people.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, 'cause
At
we
the
can't
emergency
discuss all
situations.
parts, right?
Not all parts. No, but is it really that exciting? I mean, of course, on TV it's different. But for you as a doctor, having to respond to all of this, of course, that's always human drama right there. Is it really as they depict it on television?
Well, I mean, of course, we know that there's always a little glorification set up for your entertainment, right? But, I mean, there are moments like that. I've been asked quite often, is it like ER, the show? Or, so I don't know if you watched Scrubs. It's like, so it's really more like that. It's really light, and I mean there are moments, but for the most part, the what you see on like Grey's Anatomy and ER is just those moments, and then they stuck them all together. That's like 1 year's worth in an episode. But we do get those moments, and actually, I think that's really what we do it for. Just those times where you have to do something, and it will make a big difference in the outcome. And, we live for those moments.
I like that. I like it because what your point is, you really work hard, you really prepare. It's nothing like boom, boom, boom every day. You're always put in that kind of situation. But when the situation calls for it, you are there, prepared, ready. You are excellent at it because that's the last question that we're going to be asking you about excellence, right?
Yes, let's go over to Ryan. Ryan, for you, what is excellence in the context of what you do as a pop writer?
Oh, for me, excellence changes every day. 5 years ago, for me, excellence would be to write a song that sounded good to my mom, After that, it would be something that I would be proud of to show to my friend. And after a while, right now, I just want to be able to write songs for the networks here like I used to be able to do in America. I think that, I guess, not just for me, but for a lot of other people, excellence changes all the time because your goals always change. And whenever you reach these goals, then you just look at something bigger and you try to achieve that.
So you keep setting the bar higher.
Yeah, excellence is an awesome word, I don't think I've hit that point yet. But I'm sitting here, so I guess I'm here for a reason, right? But I feel like excellence is really the pursuit of excellence. Just that mindset of you want to get better, so you always keep trying to get better, and and because of that, you keep you do get better at doing whatever it is that you're doing, if that makes sense.
That makes sense.
Makes perfect sense. Actually, it reminds me, I don't know if you guys follow Stephen Covey, the 7 Basic Habits, but his 7th principle is sharpen the saw, which is to always try to improve whatever craft you have, try to come up with a better way. So even though you're on top, you can still get even better, right?
Thank you for sharing that. For you, Rochelle, is excellence a standing ovation, encore, flowers being given to you? Is that excellence?
That's nice, but that's not excellence for me because I set my own standards, you know, because the audience might love my performance, but for me, that was not my best, so that's not excellent. So I guess it's knowing what you're good at doing, knowing what your best is, and being always in that level, and always just keeping towards that goal that you've set to yourself. And so it's very important for me to know what God has given me, the purpose that He's given to me, and that calling. Because my profession is not just a job for me; it's a calling. So.
Absolutely, that's great. Okay, let's go to Pocholo.
Yeah.
In your profession, what is excellence? Is it making everybody laugh, or is it getting awards?
Okay, I'll give you a background of my dream. You know what? When I was in elementary, I just want to become a factory worker and finish high school. That's how people in my province wants. Because we have this export processing zone, so most of the people just go to the, they just want to work in a factory. That's my dream. But basically, that dream became different when I entered the University of the Philippines. And I still remember my teacher asked me, "What do you want to become?" And I told her I want to be a factory worker. And she cannot even, believe me.
But if you're the best at it, there's nothing wrong with that.
Excellent factory.
But you know what? The good thing about what happened, I discovered that there's always the best in everyone. And especially, I always believe that Filipinos has the best thing in their life. I mean, at the age of 23, I created my very first company, which is Creative Voices Productions. My goal is to make the Philippines the center of voiceover excellence in Asia. So, because I believe we Filipinos are really good especially in communication. That's why the #1 call centers are here in the Philippines. So, what I did, I went to Japan, Hong Kong, Singapore, and Korea to present the voices of the Filipinos. Even no one believes in me. So, when I was in Japan, I presented the voices of my friends, and the Japanese believes in me. So my first client in Japan is actually Sega. Sega, you know Sega, arcade games. And we did like 8 projects for them, and the latest one is the Transformer. What you play in some time zone are the voices of my fellow Filipino.
All right. Mabuhay ang Pilipinas.
And 11 years ago, I was already working in the US. But I can't imagine working for the Americans. So that's the reason why I went back to the Philippines and created another organization called the Voice of the Youth Network, which right now we have 18 radio shows running around the country without even spending any cent, because I don't have money. So I don't have a choice. So all I ask is for a radio station to give the Filipino youth a voice on issues that affect them. So even 30 minutes for a week. There's 24 hours a day. What is 30 minutes for a radio station to give the Filipino youth a voice on issues that affect them? And because of that, we won almost 25 local and international awards, because I believe it's not all about the money, but it's all about the passion. So for me, excellence is making other people better. Thank you.
Doing it right.
Good man.
All right, last but not the least, of course, let's go to Dr. Dan. Dan, what is excellence in the field of medicine?
Yeah, actually, I think I agree with Ryan on this. I think excellence is not something that you achieve. It's something that you always look for or chase after. And so I think that when you get really good at something, it may not even be the people that appreciate it that really know, because they don't have that kind of level, right? It's something that you have to set for yourself and always chase after. So let's say, for me, fulfillment in my job is if someone comes to me and says, you know, we're so thankful that you saved my father's life or whatever, right? But then for me, I'm always going to be thinking, you know, I could have caught it earlier if I had just thought of doing this, right? And so that's something that you always push yourself towards. If you find, if you love your job, you always want to do it better. And I think that that's what, you know, excellence is in the work.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing all of that. I'm sure our audience here basically got the main objective of this segment that we've had here. And we really just wanted to come out and show you and share with you the commonalities in thought processes amongst these wonderful practitioners who they themselves have excelled in the different fields that they belong to, and proving that thought leadership requires focus, determination, passion, out-of-the-box mentality that you heard in whatever field that you choose.
So we've been talking about excellence as a philosophy for these thought leaders. At this point, we'd like to introduce you to three more giants in their respective fields to share with us their experiences and philosophies. But before that, we'd like to acknowledge those whose generous support made today possible.
The First Pacific Company Limited,
San Miguel Corporation,
Philippine Long Distance Telephone Company,
Smart Communications,
Metro Pacific Tollways Corporation, Manila North Tollways Corporation, Tollways Management Corporation, and Cavitex.
PLDT Home,
PLDT Alpha Enterprise,
Smart Enterprise, PLDT SME Nation and Sun Business,
Maynilad Water Services.
Meralco.
Thank you so much to all of our wonderful supporters. Now, our next guest, ladies and gentlemen, is a native of Paris who began music studies in France. He went on to study music in the United States and expanded his studies to orchestral conducting, taking up graduate studies and attending master's classes with some of the best mentors in the U.S. He obtained his master's degree in conducting from the University of Southern California, and in 2009, he began his doctoral studies in orchestral conducting in the Cincinnati College Conservatory of Music under Mark Gibson.
He's a flutist and a bassist. Olivier Ochanin earned his bachelor's degree from the University of Kentucky. He was also served as an auxiliary bassist for the Lexington Philharmonic Orchestra. Since 2010, Mr. Ochanin has been the musical director and principal conductor of the Philippine Philharmonic Orchestra, the nation's leading orchestra. Under his leadership, the orchestra has performed numerous Philippine premieres. Mr. Ochanin's extension with his orchestra takes him to the year 2016.
In the Philippines, Mr. Ochanin is an active clinician leading chamber music master classes at schools. He has also led conducting master classes for the Cultural Center of the Philippines. As part of his outreach mission, Mr. Ochanin serves as interim resident conductor for the Orchestra of the Filipino Youth, a program geared towards talented youth that stem from severely unfortunate financial backgrounds. Soloists with whom Mr. Ochanin has appeared with include Stephen Dibner, Sofia Guliak, Albert Tu, Viviana Guzman, Odin Ratnam, and Kurt Muroki. Aside from the Philippines, Mr. Ochanin is a regular guest conductor with the Sichuan Philharmonic Orchestra in Chengdu, China, and his upcoming international appearances include guest conducting performances in Europe, China, and Vietnam. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Ochanin himself. Hello, Maestro Olivier.
Hi, how are you?
Good, good. Good to have you, and we're excited. I know later on we'll be joined by another maestro too, but we're looking forward to learning from you today. Now, let's call in our next guest. She is She was a Merit Science Scholar of the Department of Science and Technology when she graduated valedictorian from the Philippine Science High School. She then received an academic scholarship from the Ateneo de Manila University, and in 2005, she graduated summa cum laude with a bachelor's degree in physics. In 2006, she entered a master's level program in high energy physics at the Abdus Salam International Center for Theoretical Physics in Italy. It was during that time that she regained her interest in cosmology and astrophysics and applied to graduate schools in the US. And you know what? She chose a little-known school named Princeton, where she graduated and she subsequently earned her doctorate. For her research on obscured quasars, Reina was awarded the Chambliss Astronomy Achievement Student Award by the American Astronomical Society during their 211th meeting in 2007. In 2010, she led a team of Princeton, or at Princeton, that proved Einstein's theory of relativity at a cosmic scale, and her findings also supported the existence of dark energy, a force once only imagined by scientists.
Ladies and gentlemen, please help us to welcome Dr. Reynabel Reyes.
Dr. Reynabel, we cannot wait to pick your brains. That is very interesting.
She's someone I would love to sit next to in science class. Can I borrow your notes?
Wow, okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, our final guest at this forum on thought leadership is a national treasure. Cecil Buencamino Licad was born in Manila to Rosario Buencamino and Dr. Jesus Licad. She began her piano studies at the age of 3 from her mother, and by the age of 7, she made her debut as a soloist with the Philippine Philharmonic Orchestra. She won international recognition as one of the youngest musicians to ever receive the prestigious Leventritt Competition Gold Medal, and in 1981, the award launched her international career performing with major orchestras in the world. Her recording of Chopin's Piano Concerto No. 2 and Saint-Saëns Piano Concerto No. 2 with André Previn conducting the London Philharmonic was awarded the Grand Prix du Disque Frédéric Chopin in 1985 in the Piano and Orchestra Works category by the Frédéric Chopin Society, Warsaw, Poland.
She has appeared with orchestras such as the Chicago Symphony, Boston Symphony, Philadelphia Orchestra, New York Philharmonic, National Symphony Orchestra, Children's Orchestra, and the orchestras of Los Angeles, San Francisco, Houston, Seattle, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Cincinnati, Phoenix, and Vancouver. I don't think she missed much of North America. Cecil has appeared on television with Mstislav Rostropovich and has performed with ensembles such as the New York Chamber Symphony, St. Paul Chamber Orchestra, Guarneri Quartet, Takash Quartet, the Chamber Music Society of Lincoln Center, and music from Marlborough. In March of 2007, she had a special performance together with her then 19-year-old Otavio L. Meneses as a pianist.
That is her son, and they performed together at the Cultural Center of the Philippines. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Cecil Licad.
Welcome. We have a
apart from
diverse
talking to you,
group here.
I know. Apart from talking to Miss Cecile, we have the opportunity also to, of course, hear all of their performances later on. But for now, we have to once again try to get out what they do, how they're and how they've achieved excellence in their chosen paths. But first, let's talk to Dr. Reina over here. Okay, you have to tell us more about what it all means. I mean, how do you prove Einstein's theory of relativity at a cosmic scale? Isn't it already? And of course, you have to tell us about dark energy apart from what we read in the newspapers.
Good
Tell us
question.
more
Yeah.
about what you've discovered and what it's all about.
Right. No, so The reason we can do it is because we have this big galaxy surveys. So we actually observe the galaxies in the sky. Essentially, it's like taking a camera, big camera, and pointing it at the sky and scanning the sky for a long time, over periods of time. And we have 1 million galaxies. And by measuring how fast they move and their shapes, we can test if Einstein's theory of gravity, the general relativity theory, holds in those large scales. The thing is, that hasn't been done before. We know that Einstein's theory works very, very well here in the solar system, but for the galaxies outside, there's the possibility that it doesn't hold. And we've done the first measurement that we can compare with the prediction of Einstein's theory, and we found that it is consistent. We found that the answer we got from looking at the skies is the same as the one that Einstein predicted 100 years ago, and that's what we can do now with
Question, were you the one who led that team?
Yeah, this was part of my PhD project, right?
Wow, ladies and gentlemen, give her a round of applause. That's amazing. Now, again, we're talking about a lot higher level than Biology 101. How did you get into astrophysics? I mean, how did you get all the way up there?
I was really interested in science even as a young age, at a young age. So I tell this story, I asked my dad to buy a telescope, and we actually used it to look at the moon, which you can see a lot. But I went then to Philippine Science High School, and then I pursued physics in college. By the time I knew that I wanted to become a scientist, and then these opportunities came up. I went to Italy for further studies, and then eventually to the US for my PhD. So I think, yeah, it was just, yeah, grabbing the opportunities that came.
Wow, I'm so encouraged because if I could just share, we together have a 9-year-old. And he wants to also be a scientist one of these days, a meteorologist today.
At age 9.
Yes, at the age of 9. But I'm sure you got obviously you got a lot of encouragement from your parents.
Yes.
But even up to this point in your career that you've already achieved so much, what keeps you going? I mean, what is your motivation every single day? Is it to prove a new kind of theory out there and discover something new?
Sure. You never run out of questions. So, for example, this measurement that we did is just the first measurement. And it's, in fact, the precision is not that high. But the idea is with the bigger surveys that's upcoming, you can repeat this measurement at a higher, and get a higher precision. Make the test more stringent, and also you can do it now at different, say, ages of the universe. If you can look farther out, so there's always something more to do, and that's how science is. So we never run out of questions. Yeah.
Thank you, and I'm sure for our younger crowd, and even for all the executives here, I guess the main message there is stay curious and stay hungry for knowledge, right? Thank you. Now, Vince, let's talk to Miss Cecil.
Okay, Ma'am. We know that you're always, very renowned for your passion with the way you invest in your time and your energy in your piano playing. Question: are you totally lost in the music, or when you're playing, is there a lot of thoughts going through your head, or what's your state of mind when you're behind the piano?
I think not much. I just make, I kind of experiment with the sound I hear, like while I'm doing it. So it's very interesting what she talks about. It's just, there's so much similarities. For me, it's the innovation and, here in the Philippines I play in different pianos, and I just experiment while I play. And, I don't try to feel, things just for the sake of feeling it. I feel it, whatever comes. If it's too cold, I feel the free, you know, the theater, and then I put it in my playing. And I'm actually always have some fear, and I have to live with it. I've lived with it since I was 5 years old.
So you're actually a little bit afraid whenever you get behind the piano?
Not afraid. I kind of like, it's part of what I do. So I kind of live with its fear, and I turn it into a positive, I guess, sometimes.
So with that fear, it's sort of like leaving no stone unturned, and you sort of, experiment a little bit, trial and error, what works for you. Is that how it works?
But I'm kind of, I have this fear, but it's not a fear that I can't play. It's just, I don't know, it's hard to explain.
Demanding from yourself the best and maybe going beyond that and pushing yourself even more.
Yeah, but sometimes it's so unexpected. I never know. I mean, I always try to achieve the best, but when the time comes, you never know. Shit happens.
Yes.
Beep.
Those things happen all the time. Sometimes you step on it. But moving on, Ms. Cecil, we all know that you have given so much pride to our country, representing us through the excellent work that you do on the world stage. Do you still have dreams of being more than what you've already achieved, which is already awesome by our standards, by so many people's standards?
I never think like that. I just live by the day, and my days always feels like it's the last day that I'm leaving, you know, so I try to do the best I can.
I like that. I like that. Live it like today means everything.
Yeah,
right?
I put my heart and soul to what I do, and that's it.
A lot of people will be learning from you definitely today. Now let's go to Olivier.
Okay, Olivier, question. Why the Philippines when it seems you might flourish just as well anywhere in the world? Why do you choose?
Why not the Philippines? It's
good answer.
It's, you know, there's a perception that the Philippines is not on a par musically or in many other ways than countries that call themselves first world or whatever. And that's something that I want to change, that I don't want to change myself, but I want people to understand the Philippines has so much to offer. So I'm actually very lucky to be here. I've been asked that question so many times, and it surprises me every time. And I understand where you're coming from, but there's so much that this country has to offer. And actually, I've learned more in this country than I've learned in all the other countries that I've lived in about how to be human, how to appreciate, and how to love. So.
That's fantastic. You know, if I may interject, I was also asked a lot of the same question. Why are you here? You could be doing something somewhere else, but the Philippines has grown on all of us, and we all love our home country, and we want to, help it in any way we can. And if it's competing on the world stage or bringing the best musical or whatever field we have chosen to that stage, then so be it. We applaud you, sir.
Now, I wanted to ask, still with Olivier here, since you're already basically touching up on excellence. A lot of our students here heard what our panelists here on my right have to say about excellence. What to you is excellence in the context of your profession?
In the context of my profession, I think, and I'm lucky, I think, being in this profession, because working on excelling in this profession, you learn a lot about how to excel in life. Very simply put, I think excellence in conducting is learning how to, when to lead and when to let go, which is something that we have to learn in all facets of life, in relationships and in other jobs, in many fields, in all fields, I'm sure. But in conducting, you have to learn when you're needed and when you have to put trust into the people that you work with. And so as you will see if you're here later on, there's an orchestra set up here with 70, sometimes 100 musicians. And excellence obviously has to deal with the obvious, which is you have to learn your craft. You have to always push yourself so that you don't ever get satisfied that you are where you should be. You always have to and as you were saying, stay curious. But specifically, I think you also have to, it's very important to empower the people that you work with. And how do you do that? You put trust in them. So for me, the excellence is trying to find the balance, and I will spend the rest of my life working on that. And you go to different orchestras, you go to different countries, and you learn that with different cultures, that balance is different. And so I find that challenge fascinating.
That's great. Let's go on to Reina. For me, you're already excellent in so many ways, but for you, what is excellence, and what drives you?
Cool. I think in the context of my field, in science, the excellence is always coming up with something original, something new. In research, you're always pushing the boundaries of knowledge, of what we know as humankind, in fact. And so the standard of excellence is really pushing on that boundary and figuring something out that no one has figured out before. Because there's new technology, because you used a new method, or because you just connected the dots and put something together. And so you got an insight or something working for the first time. And that's the signature of excellence for me.
Thank you. I love that. And Miss Cecil, you, for many, already, you are the epitome of excellence. But if you were to share that and explain to people, particularly the younger set that are here, what to you is excellence?
I never think of myself as excellent. I mean, I know I'm good. I don't know, I guess it's just the way the process, the way I practice maybe. I'd probably, I don't know if I can relate, but in the piano, like I would practice the most silliest part of a piece. That's something could not even give a damn, like I would practice some really silly part for hours and hours, and nobody's even gonna notice that part, but once in a while you find somebody who really knows about music and they'll be like, I've never heard that in my entire life. It's like, it feels good. That stupid part that I worked on for hours made such a huge difference. And I don't know,
I guess that your pursuit, your continuous pursuit for excellence, and of course your humility also is truly, truly inspiring. And I'm sure a lot of them will pick that up and will also try to also choose their path of excellence and how you do it also. She's already one of the greatest, she's humble, but you still work really hard and we see that.
There's no formula, I think. You just gotta do it.
All right. Well, this segment now that we're going to be transitioning to will allow for our panelists to ask each other questions. This is the fun part. And I guess this is an innovation that only Mr. Roy Evalie can come up with. But this is interesting because you already have wonderful leaders here, great in their different profession. And I'm sure you all have questions for one another. And I would like to look for volunteers here on the stage as to who would like to go first. Dr. Dan?
Oh.
Okay,
Volunteered.
Okay.
My wife's good at that, by the way.
So anyway, I guess for me, I'd like to ask Dr. Reyes because, well, of course, looking around the panel here, it's a very impressive and accomplished set of individuals. But one thing that struck me about Dr. Reyes' profile, I think for Filipinos, Olivier mentioned, right, I think that a lot of times we excel in performing arts, we're very musical, we have performers here. But when it comes to, very technical, precise sciences, usually we think of the Germans or the Japanese, Americans, right? And so it was very intriguing to me that, even medicine is a science, but we're a little loose, in terms of this exactness, it's very, casual science, I guess. And so, do you think, especially for the people here thinking of their careers and all that, right? So, how do you think we are in terms of, I guess what it needs is a lot of discipline, right? Which is something that maybe sometimes Filipinos are you know, criticized for not having so much of. Do you think that we're maybe coming up in that, or what is the, you know, the sort of the key to success for a Filipino who maybe is from a country that's not known as to be as disciplined as Germany or Japan, you know, to succeed in that kind of scientific field?
I'll push back a bit on the discipline side. But okay, I mean, all of our fields, I think, require discipline. But I guess you're also referring to like the technical, analytical side. And that, I think, yeah, I've spoken to it before. And I came to the point of asking questions. Because to me, the core part of being a scientist is asking questions. And it's like, you're saying, when nung bata ako, makulit ako. Parang makulit na bata, tanong ng tanong. And we have this tendency to, and it's not only Filipinos, I guess, it's all over the world, but I'm noticing it because I'm Filipino, that we tend to shush that, to say, no, wag na tanong ng tanong, or basta yun na yun, right? And I say na I'm very lucky that my parents, my mom in particular, didn't do that. Like, she actually had the patience to explain to me. Or to say na, oh, I don't know, but let's find out together. For example, saan galing ang ulan? Like, umuulan, diba? Saan galing ang ulan? You know, you wonder, right? But usually they say, di ko alam, so they just say, you know what, that's part of it. Part of it is being humble enough, saying, hindi ko alam, pero look, there's encyclopedia, no? Encyclopedia pa. Now there's internet, you know, you can just Google. And then you learn about the water cycle. It's from the rivers, it evaporates, and then it becomes the clouds, and then it rains. And that there's this something, there are these processes, phenomena of nature, and there are laws, and that we can understand that. And who are the people who figure this out? These are the scientists. And then the other practical part of the question, I think, is then, why would you become a scientist? It's not also part of our, you know, you become a doctor, yes, you become a lawyer, you become a basketball player. But you become a scientist, and that's also, I mean, even for me, like, I think it's just because we don't know anyone who was a scientist. And so it's hard even to imagine that someone from the audience now can become a scientist in the future. And that's why I also like to say, I mean, yeah, to share that we have role models who are scientists in our universities, in our industries. Konti lang, pero I think dumadami and dumadami as we also become more, I think, developed as a country. I hope na that would also drive industry, because, you know, it's not all good, you know. If it, sorry. But to the question of, you know, the future, I guess, of the Philippines, I'm hopeful that this sort of economic development will also give more opportunity for young ones who are more inclined to science and technology to pursue that.
And you're teaching as well, right? You teach it as well.
Yes, and I'm teaching as well, and that's part of it, mentoring the next generation of scientists.
Thank you, Dr. Reyes. Now I'm looking for another volunteer.
Okay, so let's play it that way. Whoever got to answer can ask. Sige.
It's for anyone. I guess I'm curious about how much of the one's field is innate, or your talent is innate, and I guess the specific question is, when did you know, how early did you know that this is what you wanted to do?
I guess from this side of the room, they explained that, particularly Rochelle explained that. Were you able to share that, Ryan, a little bit?
I don't think so in the way that this question was phrased. But I mean, I could answer. Like, are you asking at which point did we sort of know that it was more talent?
Like, for example,
that we had a talent for this?
were you singing at 3 years old? Were you playing the piano at 3, or at 5, or at 12?
All right, I feel like as far as talent comes, I feel like people just have a natural predisposition to liking things that they're good at, or maybe just being good at things that they like. So like, I mean, I've always been good at music, or like making music or writing music, but when I was a kid, my piano teacher quit on me. So like, I never got to, my guitar teacher quit on me. And I tried to do like, you know, those little voice theater or whatever, those things as well. They were like, no, this kid's got no future. But around the time when I was like 15 or 16, I broke up with my girlfriend. And because of that, I was feeling really emo. I was listening to like Parokya and Edgar, ganon. And I had a guitar, and I just sort of like started copying guitar songs. And I did that for a while. I literally locked myself up in my room. And I got really obsessed about it. Like I use that word obsessed a lot. Because like for me, it really was an obsession. I wasn't trying to get better, but I was just trying to just do as many things as I can with this little instrument that I had. And eventually I started writing songs, and trust me, like I sounded like shit. Like back then, especially because like I never sang. I don't really sing, but I mean I like to, but I would have never thought that I'd ever be performing in front of people. But there came a point when like I would just write songs, and I just get so lost in the moment. And then after the song was written, I'd be like, yo, not only does this sound good, but I don't even like really know or remember the process that it took when I made it. I mean, it sounds really weird. Like I wasn't on anything, I promise. But like, it was like you're in a different world, and then you come out with a finished product, and then it's just like, yo, did I do that, or like did something else do that? You know? And I think that a lot of that had to do with talent, but to get there and to get better, I mean, it's a lot of practice, really.
Thank you. Now, Ryan, you get to ask a question, but new rule, you can't ask a person who had already answered. So we just come up with these things on the spot. I know you had a question here for Dr.
I had a
Reyna.
question because I love
So it's got to
Neil
be on
deGrasse.
someone
Anyway,
else.
You can just ask me the question.
I'll try to come up with something.
This is
I'm not allowed to ask you directly, but through you.
I had a question in mind, but I'm just gonna. This is for the voice, the master of
Pocholo.
Pocholo.
Okay.
You wrote it down.
He's prepared.
No, I didn't even write it down. I'm just messing around with my phone. My question is this. Do you find yourself sort of hitting roadblocks when, because I mean like the voice can only do so much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like whenever you hit roadblocks and you know you need to play a character, do you ever feel like I don't want this guy to sound like this other guy that I already did like 2 years ago? Like what do you do when you get into that situation?
Okay, when I'm starting, I always imitate all the voices that I'm hearing, like SpongeBob. You want to hear? Are you sure? Okay, I'll just do some samples. Like, you count 1, 2, 3, go.
1,
2, 3, go.
Hey, come on, Patrick. My name is SpongeBob. Ay, no!
And then Patrick, hey, how are you, SpongeBob?
Yeah.
Hey, shut up, SpongeBob. My name is Squidward. I'm Mr. Krabs. And even Mickey Mouse. And, oh, come on, Pluto. My name is Mickey. And Donald Duck. Gosh, my name is Goofy. So, well, actually, I really don't know why I can imitate that until I ask someone in my industry that, how do you do that voices? And he answers, alam mo pare, kinukuha ko lang sa bayag. Oh my God. Really, that's really true. He answered, you know, what is... I can't imagine he answers me that. A 17-year-old boy asking a veteran, like a 60-year-old, and he will answer me that. How do you do that voice? And I realized there's tools and techniques how to do it. Just like singing, playing piano, there's tools and techniques that you need to learn. So that's the reason why I took up speech communication. And when I went to the States, I studied with the greatest voiceover artists in the world, like Bill Farmer, the voice of Goofy, and also James Alberger. He's the author of The Art of Voice Acting. And gladly, 2 years ago, I am the only Filipino and Asian who were invited to be one of the international panelists, together with the British, Australian, Turkish, and Spanish, to speak in front of all thousands of voiceover artists around the world. And it's a Filipino still. So basically, I don't limit myself until I realize I can't do it, because you'll never know until you try. Just like the local voiceovers, like actors who are already dead. I don't even met them personally, but when I'm watching movies like Babalu, Panchito, you know them? Dolphy. Yeah, they are all my favorites. Like there's a parang scene, Babalu and Dolphy, sabi niya, "Sabi mo papasok eh." Dolphy said, "Sabi ko palabas, siya." So, when I imitated that, I was surprised to myself, oh, I can do it. Until all of them I can, even all your presidents I can. For example, of course, the former president, Marcos, you know him?
Be careful. His daughter is here.
Oh my God.
Just warning you.
Okay. Ang masasabi ko lang, mahirap siyang gayahin. And also,
Gusto ni Miss Irene mo.
Bug. Also, ano na, okay na po. Who else? Erap, FBR, like, pare, sabi ko lang, huwag niyo akong subukan. FBR said, well, first of all, mabuhay ang sambayan ng Pilipino para sa Philippines 2000. Ay, thank you very much, no? And many more. So, even the girl, I thought I can't do it. So, but I tried. My lola sounds like this.
Ay naku apo, mag-iingat ka.
Anyway, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Pocholo. Now, since we've passed the baton to you, Pocholo, do you have any questions for anybody? Or
Actually,
throw
I
it right
want
back to Ryan if you
ask
want.
my idol, Cecil Licad. You know what? Since I'm in elementary, I've been hearing your name. But as you know, I really love to play piano since I'm young. But I can't, I really can't. So that's the reason why I just played guitar. So I think it's really a talent, not just a skill. Although I really tried to play piano. So how can you like inspire or motivate people who wants to play piano to try it? I mean, even they can't do it. Just like me, I really want until now to learn how to play piano. I only know how to play Baba Black Sheep, have you ever heard it? Or Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Yeah.
It's the
Same song.
Or somebody that I used to know. Somebody, tan, 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 tan. That's all I can do, only notes.
Did you take lessons, my question?
Yeah. And my
maybe.
teacher quits.
Ryan's teacher quit also.
Yeah, Ryan's teacher quit also. But
I know.
For I guess
Hey, that's better than nothing.
Yeah, it's better than nothing. So how do you encourage? I mean, Otavio, your son, was he also encouraged? Did you teach him to play the piano?
Actually, not. I mean, he was just living with me. I mean, he was my son. So he had to hear me practice.
Right.
But he probably didn't want to do it anymore because it's like he knows how much it takes to, you know.
Right.
But yesterday I was with a very good friend and she had this grandchild who's like 3 years old and I was making noise in the piano and he would copy immediately. You know, he loved the monster sounds, you know, the boo-goo-goo-goo-goo-goo. And, and I would make bird sounds and, you know, he was so excited. And
so is that how you'd like to encourage also this next generation? I mean, to take a piano, or not piano in particular, but really to master music, to be great at their craft. I guess that's what Pocholo is also getting at. How do you
I don't
encourage?
believe in forcing people. If they don't want piano, I mean, don't. I mean, you have to, I mean, it's a different kind of thing. Piano is a very, very difficult instrument. So I'm not trying to discourage people, but I mean, that's why I have no brain sometimes. It's because it's just too many things, you know. You use 10 fingers and much, much more.
I guess that's why, I mean, for our companies, HR does their work in trying to find what you're really good at and try to push you towards that direction. Parents also do the same, but you're right. If they are not interested in piano, why push them? But encourage those who may have that gift.
But if they like, yeah, but if they like it, if they enjoy it, you know, I know people who are 75 years old and they're practicing now, and they're loving it, and they're, you know, texting me like, oh, you said this, and it's really made a big difference, and you know.
So is it ever too late to learn? I mean,
never too late. My teacher was 104 years old.
Wow.
When he died, and he played in Carnegie Hall when he was 97.
That is amazing.
And got married when he was 86.
Wow.
Oh, there you go.
Did everything late then.
Yeah.
Okay, may we ask you to ask any question you want to any of our panelists?
I didn't think of any.
No questions? Okay, let's go on to Olivier. Olivier or Sunil. You have any questions for anybody?
Well, first I want to say shit. because now I got that out of my system. It was bound to come at some point or another. I wanted to ask, sorry about that. I wanted to ask Rochelle, not so much a question, but how can you explain what you do to safeguard your instrument, which is your voice? Because we're lucky. I'm very lucky. I have a stick and I wave it like a monkey. But all you have, your instrument is it's your body, and so
I'm doing that right now.
And that's what she's doing there. So, because I've seen you, I've known you for a while, and you're half the time you're dressed like an Eskimo, and even in Manila. No, but can you tell what you what you do to keep ready in prime condition?
Yes. Well, different singers have different regimens, but of course, in general, you should stay physically fit and healthy. So that means eating the right food, sleeping right, you know, because our instrument, a singer's instrument is not just the vocal cords, but the whole body. So if you're not in good condition, then, you know, you won't sound good. So basically, live a healthy life. And then on top of that, always be prepared, which means practicing regularly. And that also varies. For those who are still studying the technique, the vocal technique, it has to be more frequent. And you need somebody to guide you, and that's a good teacher. And all musicians know that. In all instruments, you need a good teacher, the best teacher that you can get, you know, and train under that teacher and be guided by that teacher.
Thank you. I know, Pocholo, you also have to protect your
Yeah.
many voices.
Yeah. Actually, I just learned that I need to protect my voice when I'm already 25 years old. And because I had this experience, I had to do a commercial, like 3 of them, before I do like 5 commercials a day. So The problem is I have a harsh voice, so I lost like 100,000 pesos because of that. So I realized I need to take good care of my voice. Just like now, I'm actually sick. I have a fever. But at least I can...
I'm also taking care of my voice.
Backing away. Contagious?
No, seriously.
Well, basically, that's the reason why I took up some courses also, how to take good care of the voices. So basically, what I do, I gargle lukewarm water with salt every day, literally every day. I don't drink water with ice, and I exercise regularly. And with this, actually, I created a program for teachers called Voice Care for Teachers. That's why I'm traveling around the country. And also, as a motivational speaker, I've been to more than 50 provinces around the country. So every time I speak for 2 hours, can you imagine? It's like watching a movie. How can you get the attention of the people for 2 hours, especially for young people who got a very limited attention span? So, as you know, most of our teachers, when I was in elementary, I was wondering why they sound alike. All of them sounds like this.
Hi, Pocholo, tumahimik ka!
They always sound like that. Like that. So I've realized most of the vocal cords of those teachers are already broken. It's destroyed literally because imagine for the past 40, 50 years of their life, they've been teaching. And there's a lot of remedies that I can also teach. And I hope if you need help, I can also teach you how to do that, especially for those teachers who are here.
Right, right. They must have had Ryan as a student, so their vocal cords actually broke already.
Can I ask a question? What do you guys refrain from? You absolutely do not do. Your voice is your gift. It's your asset. What are things that you stay away from? Is it smoking? Is it other vices like that?
Yes, definitely. Whatever that abuses the voice. So there's certain foods also. We can't take like too spicy, although that also depends. I know some singers who can sing and eat all the spices and drink all the cold beverages and does not affect the voice at all. But I'm more careful, so I refrain from that. And then there are certain things that also affects the acid reflux that also affects the voice, so don't eat food that will
before you perform.
Will make you, will activate that. So things like that.
All right.
It's hard.
It is, and I can
there are
see
times
that
when I really just want to give up because I just want to have ice cream, I want to have a normal life, Can't I just stop?
I'm sure there are many sacrifices. It's not just the ice cream. It's not just doing some of course, no one wants to do vices.
It's all of those small things combined together.
That's true. Now, I'm going to give you an opportunity, Rochelle, to ask your good friend here a question, Olivier, because he hasn't answered a question yet.
Oh, I haven't thought about the question too.
Not that one.
Not
that one.
Oh, can it be not related to our work?
Yes.
What do you find so amazing about Filipinas that you married one?
I think it's married.
Yeah, and she's somewhere here, sleeping in the audience,
so
I think.
special.
Well, it's too cliche to say that Filipinos are caring and loving, but they are, and so that's the gist of it. But my wife is crazy like me, which helps. And she's, but not just crazy. She's, where I have the passion for music, and she has the brains and keeps me grounded. And you need that, you need. I know some people who are fine without a partner that's like that, but I need somebody like that. So, and I found her very quickly when I got to the Philippines. But in general, I find that Filipinos are so resilient, and of course the resilience you hear about all the time whenever you get reports from CNN and all that on typhoons and on earthquakes and all that. But I saw it myself in person when I went down to Tacloban and places like that, or even in Manila where there's you see it in Filipinos, this resilience, and for me it's inspiring. And so to have that in my partner, and on top of it to have the humor that I get from her, is, I'm a lucky guy, what can I say?
Good one. And she gets to enjoy the music
Yes.
alongside everyone here tonight. Thanks so much for being
And
here.
my wife knows all about resilience in a relationship. Just kidding.
Yes. And I also know to be in a good relationship to protect my voice so I don't always have to shout.
Yes. So I don't give you reason to shout. Next question.
Next question. No one's
Okay, you have
asked.
any question?
You know, Olivier, since you're the last one, I'll give you the opportunity to ask our good doctor here a question.
I already asked the question, so I'm,
So that's fine.
I'm safe. I'm safe.
You know, let me tell you, leadership is about asking the right questions. No, but I would like to ask Dr. Dan over here. Of course, we talked about the excitement that you go through, the responsibility of being an ER doctor and everything. You gained a lot of knowledge from this today. How would you apply in the medical arts what you've learned from all of these great people here to what you do on a daily basis or what you do in your career?
Wow. I think you're right. Definitely just being here talking to these people, there's so much to learn. And I think that one thing we've discussed in preparing for this is that you see when you gather together a group of people who excel, who do well at their field, you can see what are the common things, right? Like everyone with a passion, and everyone strives to do the very best that they can at their work. They push themselves harder. They don't accept limitations, and you know, just also combining maybe the best of the Filipino culture with, you know, and bringing that to the world stage. And that is actually very inspiring to see their accomplishments, you know, taken out to the world. I mean, I work here, right, and I try to do the best I can. But to see that, you know, we can bring that out to the best of the rest of the world is really inspiring.
All right. Well, why don't we give everyone here, all of our panelists, a big round of applause.
Now, at this point, I'm sure our audience is dying to ask questions, so we have a series of microphones around the room. If you could line up, if you have any questions for any of our panelists, our very distinguished panelists, now's the time. It could come from the youth or from the executives, whoever wants to ask questions.
Yes, of course, you see the microphones on different parts of the room. We've also turned on the house lights. Don't forget to state your name, the school that you're from, or the organization that you belong to, and please limit your questions to relevant issues. I don't know, that's what it says here. What about that too? No. But please feel free.
That means, like, you know, you don't ask an astrophysicist to find love.
Hey,
ask them about what they do.
That's true. Do we have questions from our young audience up there? I know we have a lot of schools, a lot of representatives from different schools. High school, colleges. How many schools do we have here? There's 9 different schools that are here. Can I have the students please wave their hands? Please, I'd like to see you. The entire back row. Are you raising your hand to ask a question? Please proceed to the microphone. Over there, we have a gentleman with a question. We would love to bring the microphone over to you. Yes, sir.
I would like to direct my question to Dr. Reyes, is it?
Yes.
Yes, sir. May we have your name and the organization that you belong to?
Okay, my name is Arturo Bonaventura, or I'm just called Art. I used to be a pilot for 40 years with Philippine Airlines. And the question has something to do with my past experience. But my question first to you is, in your study of the universe, do you ever believe in UFO?
I guess that's a relevant issue.
Yes. Okay, I'll take that. Okay. No. It's a good question. UFOs, I think in general I mean, we can talk about unidentified flying objects that we see here on Earth. Are generally we don't we don't take seriously, like we don't believe that they are from alien civilizations. But there are unidentified flying objects that turn out to be, for example, military aircraft or just weird phenomenon in the sky. But the question about life in other planets, life beyond Earth, life on Earth, that's a serious question. And in fact, it's an exciting time because we are at the point where we are actually discovering other planets orbiting around other stars, so other suns. And we are on the verge of finding Earth-like planets, planets like the Earth, and habitable planets as well, where water is in liquid form just like here, and there's a possibility that there's life there. Now there's another separate question of intelligent life, and if they have means to contact us, and vice versa. And that's still unknown, but we scientists are trying to, understand the probabilities, how common it is, and how. But the distances are so far. So here's the answer to your question: is the distances are so far that with our current technology, it's not possible to travel to other planets, even these planets that we have discovered. So it's far-fetched to think that they have come here, when in fact, well, if they have, then I think we would all know. And that would be very monumental for human civilization, I think.
Okay, just to share to you my experience.
Sure.
Sometime 1991, we were flying a 747 out of Honolulu. And about an hour and a half away from Honolulu, we were flying about 31,000 feet. The night was so beautiful, there were so many stars, and typically we just look at the stars and enjoy the beauty of the universe. But suddenly, from the left side, there was a very bright light. It was so bright that it was exceptionally bright that typically if you are lighted up, if an aircraft will put on their landing lights, it is not that bright, but this one is super bright. So what we do, the protocol is see and be seen. So we put on all of our lights. And also at the back of our mind, we were trying to determine our point of convergence. But before we could ever determine our point of conversion, the light went out. So we just put off our lights. But only after a few minutes, when we looked at our left, there was this huge, huge UFO beside us.
Whoa.
And if you are a pilot flying a 747, and a 747 will be flying right beside you, that plane will look small compared to what we saw. It was so huge that my first concern was to look at our instruments because we didn't know how it was flying. If it was being propped up by magnetism, whatever, it can affect our system, and it could shut down all of our engines.
Right.
So we were more concerned about the thing. But before we knew it, like we didn't see it come in, before we knew it, it just disappeared. Now, there were 4 airplanes that verified another Philippine Airlines flight, a continental flight, and a military air transport. And on that particular month of the year, it was reported over Alaska.
So you have records of your experience.
That's
Maybe we
actual
can
experience.
share it with Dr. Reyna, and I'm sure this is the thirst for knowledge. This is always that thirst to know more about the universe, right? So hopefully with the experiences like that, it will just serve as an impetus for future scientists, for scientists like Dr. Reyna here to pursue and to try to really find out if there is life beyond civilization, beyond mankind as we know it. And we're looking forward to that. Thank you so much, Sir Art, for your story. Thank you, and for that great question. Now, we have here on the audience area at the back, we have a couple of people ready to ask their questions. A lot of curious students that are here, and we're really, really happy that all of you have made it to our executive talk brought to you by FPLA. So please don't forget to state your name and the school that you belong to and fire away with your question.
Hi, my name is Trisha. I come from Paraf Rose Hill School, and my question can be answered by anyone on stage. So, right, your passions, your dreams are important in choosing what you want to become in the future. And other than your passions, there's your college education, which is also critical for your career. But what if your passion, like let's say I want to become a lawyer, but my parents want me to become a doctor? So, what if you're under condition to choose something that you don't want to choose? Like, how do you, like, it's discouraging. So, how do you keep your passion alive, or do you just pursue whatever your parents want you to, or?
I think Rochelle shared that experience.
And
right?
Dr. Dan.
Kind of similar. Well, for me, what I do is really I pray. And I believe that there is a higher force that helps us when we're very sure of what we really want to do, and if it's for a greater purpose, then I believe everything will, how do you say? Well,
come together.
it will all come together, and it will happen maybe not now, but later. So if you're so sure of that, if you're very passionate of something, then you shouldn't stop pursuing it. That's also my definition of excellence. It's setting a goal and just pursuing it, and do not stop until you get to that goal.
All right, and that's from her experience of being asked by her parents to take up theology instead of music. So that's really good advice here. I know Dr. Dan also wanted to share some insights.
Yeah, before I do that, though, I want to ask a question of you. Are your parents in the room?
They're not.
Okay, good. Okay, then I'll answer. No, I think definitely there will be limitations and barriers for you when you want to pursue your passion or your dream. And unfortunately, maybe your parents or someone else wanting something else for you might be one of those limitations. And I think if you really are passionate about it, you can power through, and you can keep on pursuing. I know someone, for example, who is also a doctor. So his mom really wanted him to be a doctor. So he's a really smart guy. He finished med school. He did very well, graduated with honors. After his graduation, he passed his boards, after which he became an IT person, because that's what he wanted to do. So he finished his med school, went into IT. And other ones also have done, for example, after finishing medicine, they went into doing research. So, there's always, you can find a different way around things, and you can make things come together. In fact, let's say if you have a passion for something, and you trained in something else, then you can even find a way to bring these two disciplines together in a way that maybe no one else has ever done before. So I think that you can still go ahead and do that.
Thank you, Rochelle and Dr. Dan. Thanks so much for that question.
Thank you also.
You're welcome. Can we move on to the next one? We have another question. I'm guessing from the same school.
Yes. I'm Bettina from Paraf Rose Hill. So this question is for Dr. Luchanko. Okay, so I believe that a lot of people think that ER doctors are like miracle workers because it's so on the spot. And I just want to ask you, can you share an anecdote of a life-changing experience which made you come to love your job even more?
Wow. Yeah. Actually, thanks for that. I get asked that a lot, actually, to share an anecdote from that. And I think that what I like best about the job is just that there are so many stories there. Almost there's whatever comes in, and you get to really see a slice of life. You get to see people on their worst days. You get to see people, for example, I've told someone that, they're going to have a baby, and that's great news. You get to see people exposed because of the situation. They're weak, they're in pain or something, and you get to see the kind of person they really are. And so I guess without just one anecdote, it's really just the insight into everyday life and really into the humanity of people that makes it very interesting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. While we're waiting for another question over there, can I just quickly ask Olivier, did you also have that? Did you also have that moment, a life-changing moment, and you thought, this is it, this is why I do what I do?
Well, I had a life-changing moment that I can't really talk about here, but it's a very, yeah, I had a very personal moment where, you go up and down in life, and, we all have that. And in the end, you realize you're it. I mean, if you're not going to believe in yourself, and I'm going to go back to that question from earlier about the parent trying to change your mind, but music was there for me, and it's the reason that I decided to keep on going, through my trials and tribulations. I want to go back to this question because you will face many people in your life who will tell you that either that you cannot do what you want to do, that my parents were guilty of that they don't believe that you can do something that you are setting yourself out to do, or that they want you to become something else. But in the end, it's your life, nobody else's life. And parents, all parents have the best intentions, but don't always show it in the best way. And I think parents, in the end, want you to be happy. So you have to stick to what you have passion in. Passion is half of the battle. The rest is, working hard and excelling and keeping curious and keeping at it. But passion is half the battle. And if you let anybody take the passion away from you, then you've already you're on the slippery slope to failure. You gotta believe in yourself, and you cannot let anybody else change your passion. And for me, yeah, I've had plenty of people tell me, "Oh, you'll never be a conductor. My teachers were, some of them, and they didn't quit on me, but I almost quit on them. But I stuck through it because like I said, I've been a stubborn son of a mother ever since I was born, and I believe in myself, and I think if there's something that we can take from this really is that you're it. Yes, you have people that love you and that like your family and your friends. You're a little young to be married perhaps, but if you will go through times in life where it seems like nobody cares, and you're it. So you have to be your own support system.
Okay, thank you, Olivier. It seems like we've had a few teachers quit on our panelists up here. Maybe you just wore them out with all your questions. I don't know. All right. Looks like we have a dapper young man at the microphone. Go ahead and fire your question.
Hello, my name is Nico, and I study at the German European School, Manila, and I have a question to Mr. Pocholo. How do I become a voice master?
Oh, there you go.
And Mr. Pocholo, I'm the mother, and I have a second question. If you can control your voice, does it necessarily mean that your ears are trained enough to be able to sing, to be a good singer? So that's the second question. So two questions.
Okay.
Anyone can answer that.
I believe, what's your name again?
Nico.
Hi, Nico. How old are you now?
I'm 11.
11. You know what? I have an 8-year-old son, and he can now do like 10 voices. So he started imitating me. So I guess if you try imitating all the cartoons that you've been hearing, that you've been watching, you can do it. Nothing is impossible in this world as long as if you pursue doing it, and if you believe in yourself, then you can do everything. When I was young, I'm looking for an inspiration and motivation in my life. I just believe in myself. Even my mom and my dad don't believe in me. Because no one in the world will say, "Hey son, I want you to be a voice talent." All of them will say, "I want you to become an engineer or a doctor, but not a voice talent." What is that? But mind you, Just imagine a world without a voice. Just imagine a radio, a TV, or your computer game without a voice. You can't even play your favorite Angry Birds without a sound like it doesn't, no, it will never be exciting. As you know, voice-overs are also known as voice of God. We are the one telling you what to buy, what to do, what to eat. Even your toothpaste, who told you? Your mom? Of course not. It's the voiceover who says, Colgate, #1 brand recommended by that. Right? And I always believe that speech is the most miraculous thing in this world, because without speech, the world will perish. And I'm just using the power of voice acting to share my knowledge and my skills, my passion, and my aspiration in life to other people. Because, as you know, your voice can change the world. And voice is not just a gift. It is also a choice. So if you choose to sound like me, it's up to you. No, I'm just kidding. But I always believe if you have an interest or whatever you want to be, you will become as long as you do something about it. And I know one day, you're going to be the next president of this country. Just kidding, but it's up to you. And about your mommy, I don't sing. That's actually my frustration. That's why I became the voice master. Because there's a lot of singers out there, and once you say voice artist, no, you can't think of anyone, right? Because nowadays, especially for the youth, personal branding is very important. It's not actually becoming the best, but it's becoming the most well-known in terms of brand. It doesn't mean you're the best, you can do everything, but if you are not well-known, for sure they will not go to you. And the greatest ability in this world, always remember this, is availability. Boom. Panis. Okay.
All right.
Do you understand?
I thought that was him asking the question. It's you.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much,
Thank
Nico. Let's encourage Nico with a nice
Good.
round of applause. Thank you. And so good of you to be here today. And thanks to your mom for bringing you here. We have another question on that side. Your name, please.
I'm Sean from Meralco, and I think this is for anyone. A person is defined by success, but also by how he deals with failure. So my question is, how have you dealt with failure in your life and maybe rejection, and how has this defined you?
I'm not going to say you ever failed, but Cecil, would you mind taking a stab at that one?
Oh, I deal like everybody, I think. I cry, I pull my hair. I pace back and forth, and I call my son, and he goes like, God, Mom, you've been doing this for the last 40 years, chill out. Just like, so what's the question again?
How have you dealt with failure in your life, and how have you picked yourself up?
Oh, I'm pretty strong. Do you call resilient?
Resilience, yes.
Yeah, I usually try to fight it and even go further. It's like, who cares? At the end of the day, it's like, who cares? Tomorrow's another day, and just work.
I love that because so many people beat themselves up over a mistake, over an error, over something that happened, and I like your attitude.
I do it. I can't pretend.
Right.
I do it. I beat myself quite a lot, and I get I take a vodka and drink.
For this side of the room only. Not up there.
The front seats. So I think the key point there is you don't give up. You don't give it a chance to just take over your life and just walk out the door.
Yeah, but I do cry.
Take a step back.
Sure, yeah.
You deal with it, and then you go forward.
Yeah.
I'd like to
Thank
add.
you.
Thank
Yes, Olivier.
If we all fail over and over, I mean, there's not a person who doesn't fail. And the thing is, if you give up, then somebody else will do it. And so often it helps me, at least, to think of the end of my life, whenever that is. What do I want to be remembered for? For never trying again, or for getting closer and closer to that success. And sometimes, you know, the success will come when you least expect it. I've applied for many, many jobs before this one. And the thing is, the competition is so fierce. It's just fierce, and it's getting fiercer everywhere in the world. But you have to get fiercer with it. And you get stronger and stronger. And again, it's, you know, what you want to be remembered for. I don't want to be remembered for a quitter. So it helps me. So I think if you think of it that way, it might help you as well.
Thank you, Olivier Oshanin. Let's go on to our next question. If I think we have somebody right there.
Yeah, good afternoon. My name is Lance. I'm from Meralco. So today we've been talking about your personal journeys, your personal successes, but I think it would be interesting if you could also share your inspirations, and particularly if nation building is a part of those. So, yeah.
If nation building is part of those?
Yeah, part of your inspirations.
Anyone want to answer that? Ryan, you look at me.
Nation building, though.
It's
Nation
not-
building, though?
You know.
Oh, damn it. All right. Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing about nation building, man.
That's what I don't like about lapels. You can't like...
Well, I guess before I can even get into that, and to be as philosophical as I can to try to dodge the question as skillfully as possible, before you can even get into nation building, you're going to have to obviously start with yourself and build yourself up. I've had a lot of sort of things that have inspired me, just events, people. I mean, there are a lot of artists that I look up to all the time. But even more so than these artists are the people that I played with. You know, living in LA, I was able to meet so many different writers who struggled with the same things as I did. I knew a lot of producers. I knew a lot of musicians who were on the verge of quitting, but for some reason they didn't. And a few months later, they got picked up. You know, and it makes me think. Whenever we see other people who keep striving to keep doing what they're doing and they don't give up, it makes you just not want to give up either. So I think that something that really helps to inspire anyone in anything is having a good base, a good support, like a lot of people that you know who are essentially doing the same thing as you. I guess especially if you're in a volatile industry. I mean, I guess most professions are pretty volatile, but like in my experience, I find that music more so than, I mean, I guess other like maybe acting, it's pretty hard as well. But music especially, it's been getting a lot of, it's been really hard, like all over the world. And people are just losing their jobs all the time. But for all the thousands of people that don't make it, there are a few who do. And the difference is that they don't give up.
Thank you. Thank you, Ryan, for tackling that. And thank you for that question. Now, we only have a few minutes left, and I see about 3 people over here and 2 over here. So let me start with someone from back there. Unfortunately, this is going to be the last question for this session. I know it's been wonderful. Can we have the lady? Are you the first in line to ask the question?
Yes, I am.
Yes, hi.
Hi, my name is Rain, and I'm from Rizal National Science High School. And my question is for Mr. Pocholo and Dr. Luchanco. Because well, how do I put this? You keep on saying that do what you love and, you know, follow your dreams, but how do I do this if I have 2 passions in life? I want to be a doctor and I also want to be a broadcast journalist. So I took up broadcast communication. I put it in my form in the University of the Philippines in Diliman, and I put pre-med courses in my form in Ateneo de Manila. So what advice could you give for me to know what do I really want between the two of them? And it's not just
Hi,
charming,
take
of
it away.
course.
Good afternoon. What's your name?
Rain.
What?
Rain. Like rain.
Rain. As in ulan.
Yeah.
Hi, ulan.
Hi.
Alam mo, mag-Tagalog na lang ako, no? Hirap mag-English eh.
Sige po.
Mas madaling magpaliwanag sa Tagalog. Alam mo, ako ngayon, nagsimula ako walang pangarap talaga eh. Pangarap ko lang maging factory worker talaga. Tapos, pangalawang pangarap ko, marinig ko lang ang boses ko sa radyo, okay na yan. Bumati lang, hi, ako po si Pocholo, thank you. Masayang-masaya na ako nun. And then, you know, there's so-called, di ba, do you believe that if you fail to plan, you plan to fail?
Yeah.
All of you did, right? Ako hindi. Tanong nyo bakit? Kasi kulang yun. Ang question ko, what are you planning for? So dapat ang complete sentence niyan, if you fail to create your goal first, even if you plan, you will fail. It's just like driving without destination. So ano ba yung gusto mo talaga mangyari? Saan mo ba gustong pumunta? Alam mo, there's a lot of failures in my life. 99% failure, 1% lang yata ang success. But that 1%, yun ang kinoconsider ko lagi. Marami nang humarang sa buhay ko. Alam mo yung time na sa'yo na, aagawin pa. And I come up with this principle na Pochology 101. Sabi ko, kapag hindi mo nakuha ang isang bagay, may maganda at higit pang naghihintay. So, ang daming harang sa mundo, alam niyo ba yon? Pag sinabing harang, maraming hindi maniniwala, maraming aagaw. Boyfriend mo minsan. Pero, basta maniwala ka lang. Basta't, pagkagising mo at bago ka matulog, kung ang ginagawa mo sa gitna nun ay gusto mo, huwag mong itigil yon. Di ba? Kasi one day, you're gonna be surprised na nandiyan na pala sa harap mo. Because you're just investing something, no? And I always believe you can also become a doctor and a broadcaster at the same time. And you're gonna reach more people and help more people through your knowledge and skills because of broadcasting, no? And I hope Radyo 5 will help you someday. Okay, alam mo, I'm doing a lot of voiceover for TV5. And I hope one day I'm going to help other young people also to give them opportunities. Kasi I always believe, aanhin mo ang talent, skills, kahit sinong talentado dyan, kung walang opportunity, walang venue para ipakita nila yon, useless yan. So what I did, walang nagbubukas, I created my own. And then until they recognize me and then until they opened that door for me. So at the end of the day, sa'yo pa rin magsisimula yan at you will become your own best friend and your own mortal enemy. So nasa sayan. If you believe, one day it will come. Right, Doc?
Right. I think so. I think so. Okay, so I guess I'll just take a little of a different approach. I want to tell you this, Rain. If you have passion for something, you can always put that into whatever you do. Actually, even Patricia was saying, you can be both. As a doctor, one of the things that I want to do, or one of my frustrations is, sometimes I want to get a message out to people, awareness, or a cure, or whatever, right? And there's a need for that. So I'm an ER doctor, but we wouldn't be able to function without an ophthalmologist or a dermatologist. And there's all these different kinds of doctors even that we need to be. And some people need to be the kind of doctor that will get a message out. For example, if you're familiar with Dr. Sanjay Gupta, he's CNN, he's a doctor, right? And whenever CNN needs something explained to the public, they have Dr. Sanjay Gupta come up and he explains that. And his talent is not just being a doctor, but it's being someone who can communicate things to people, right? And so in that way, he does really the epitome of both. So if you could always find a slot or a niche for all your passions to work together.
All right, thank you, Rain. And thank you to our panelists here. Olivier wanted to say one last thing.
Just very, very quick thing. How many of you are coming to the concert tonight? Okay, so how many of you know the national anthem? Like the words, the lyrics? Yeah. Okay, and those of you who don't know it, can you hum along? Because I want tonight, we're playing the national anthem, and I want this to be the loudest singing of the anthem. Because too often you go to concerts and nobody's singing. They just hear it on the speakers, or we play it, but nobody's singing, or they hum it as if they're very afraid or embarrassed. And this is a leadership seminar, right? So can we all sing it very proudly tonight?
All right. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, another round of applause for our wonderful, wonderful panel for our executive talk.
That wraps up this afternoon's session. We'd like to thank our guests, Mr. Ryan C., Ms. Rochelle Herodias, Mr. Pocholo Gonzales, Dr. Dan Luchanco, our hosts for this afternoon, Patricia and Vince Hezon. Maestro Olivier Oceanin, Dr. Reynabel Reyes, and Ms. Cecile Licad. Once again, that wraps up the first segment of today's program. Please be back after a 30-minute intermission for an evening of unforgettable performances from our musical guests. Thank you. May we call on stage the Management Committee of the First Pacific Leadership Academy for a brief photo opportunity with our guests.